Today, let's collect Spawn. Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of our Let's Collect series. Today we're talking about Spawn. This is anyone new to the Let's Collect series, this is my guide to the key comics, important stories, and fun covers of a character. These is not meant to be an all-inclusive video, but it is meant to be a great starter place in terms of if you're interested in a character, you want to start collecting their stuff. It gives you some stories you can read. It gives you some books some keys to chase after, some of which are expensive, some of which maybe are fairly affordable, and also gives you some fun covers to mix in if you just like that cover art. So, today we're talking about Spawn. We're talking about Todd McFarlane's creation from 1992 that is still going strong. It is over 300 issues of the main run, the main title, as well as a bunch of little side stories and mini series and that kind of stuff that had happened that spun out of this. McFarlane loves to brag about the fact that it has the most issues of any indie comic series. Spawn's a little different than what we typically do for these with our typical Marvel or DC character that we talk about. Obviously, they're part of a bigger universe, and we really just focus on them. But it spawns its own universe kind of thing, and it doesn't really have other characters that I'll probably ever do this for. We're going to do the keys breakdown a little bit differently. First, we're going to do a breakdown of the keys, focus on Spawn himself, Al Simmons. And then we're going to do some of the other keys that can be found in this run. But first up, let's talk about those Spawn keys right now. First up for the keys, Spawn has several previews, but we'll focus on two of them. Previews number 1 from 1992, the first published image of Spawn. This is a book that goes for big value with him on the cover. Next, we have Malibu Sun number 13, both the regular one and the Air. This is also the other really big value book, given how big the print run is on Spawn number 1, his first full appearance in the first issue of the run. The newsstand on this does carry quite a bit of value, but the regular is pretty affordable. Next, we have Spawn number 12, the flashback to the death of Al and kind of Spawn's origin. This is an extremely affordable book. We have Spawn Blood Feud number 1, the first time we find out the suit's name, and so we're getting some drop of a little bit of lore on Spawn's suit. We have the first Rings of Redemption and Spawn 77, another really affordable book related to Spawn. We have Spawn 185, The Death of Al, and the first Jim Downing becoming Spawn. So that is obviously another big key here. And then we have Spawn 233, The Origin of the K7 Letha, the costume of Spawn. We get its origin in this issue. Al returns in Spawn 250. So another key issue related to Spawn that is also super, super affordable. And finally, we have Spawn Redemption number 1, Wanda's death. So his wife passes away. That really sets up a lot of around his return as Spawn. All right, so those are the Al Simmons Spawn focus keys. 10 books that you can collect if you're really interested in this character. Next up, we're going to look at some of the other key comics within the series, some of the other characters when they first appear that are important or just valuable books related to that. I will say, I didn't put any in here in the first round. I haven't included any of the books that are important because they were low print. They didn't have anything else going for them other than they're hard to find. None of those books are included in the keys, even though those are some of the most valuable Spawn books in some ways. I focused on actual keys related to like first appearances. So with that, here are the other keys to Spawn. So the other keys to Spawn, a lot of other characters. We're going to start with Spawn number 2, the first appearance of Clown, aka the Violator. Don't see him as the Violator for a couple more issues, but we first see him as Clown here. In Spawn number 9, we get the first appearance of Angela, which this is most known for, but we also get Medieval Spawn and Cagliostro. Spawn number 38, the first appearance of Cygor. We also, is another book, this is another character from McFarlane that's got a fairly decent following. Spawn 63, the first full appearance of Jessica Priest. She cameos in 61, and she is the current C-Spawn in this universe. Spawn number 100, the death of Angela, and Mamolgia. I don't know how to pronounce some of these, but yeah, this is another key book for Spawn. The first cameo of Gunslinger Spawn, which is maybe the most popular Spawn character outside of Spawn himself, in Spawn number 119. We get Spawn number 139, the first appearance of Nyx, and the first Sea Spawn. Nyx was the first Sea Spawn as well. Spawn number 150, we get the first appearance of Man of Miracles. That was supposed to be Miracle Man, but Todd McFarlane lost the rights to, so we got Man of Miracles. We get the first Mandarin Spawn in Spawn number 165. A fairly affordable book also. And finally, we get the first full appearance of the Gunslinger Spawn in Spawn 174. Okay, so that was our breakdown of keys. Next up, we're going to talk stories. Now, I am relatively inexperienced with Spawn. I haven't read very much Spawn. It's not a character I've ever really been super interested in, but you guys voted for this to be the next one, so I had to dig in a little bit to try to figure out what the good stuff was. Obviously, with a series like this, there are some mini-series and spin-offs and one-shots and that kind of stuff, but really, you could just start from the beginning and start reading. But we're going to pick out a few story arcs that maybe, if you want to whet your appetite, see where this series is like, that you can read, and then dig in from there. If you have other suggestions for folks, please put them in the comments. But here are my choices for the story arcs you need to read with Spawn. Alright, first up for the stories, we'll just start at the beginning. Spawn number 1 through 5. This tells the first story of Al's first days as the Hellspawn. And yeah, we don't get his actual origin, but we get his, as he's trying to figure out who he is and what he can do. Path to Judgment, Spawn 26 through 30, also written by McFarlane. This is where he learns his fate is not predetermined, but in his own hands. He doesn't have to be what other forces are making him to be. He can decide. We get Blood Feud, Spawn Blood Feud 1 through 4, written by Alan Moore. This is when Spawn learns the truth about the K7 Letha and ultimately better understands his suit and what he can do and really where his place is. Armageddon, Spawn 150 through 164, written by David Hine. Spawn takes on the forces of heaven and hell in this story. Again, this is about him choosing his own path and not being manipulated by either of these sides. And finally, we get Spawn Resurrection 1, and then which is Spawn 251 through 255, also written by McFarlane. And he takes on heaven and hell again to save Wanda's soul. Okay, so those are our story arcs. Last but not least, we have our covers. This is all about fun covers. This is not necessarily about value. This is also my choices. So you may disagree. A couple things about how I did this and how I always do covers to a certain degree is I avoided any homage covers. McFarlane loves to do homage covers on Spawn to other books or his other covers or just, there's a ton of those. None of those made my list. When I saw, no matter how good of homage it was, I just got rid of it. I didn't include it in my covers because I only picked 10. Secondarily, we talked about this a little bit earlier. There's a bunch of covers or issues of Spawn that are valuable because they're really low print and they're hard to find. I didn't include any of those unless I really loved the cover. So I focused strictly on the cover art itself and not on the value because it's hard to find or rare. Finally, I didn't just pack this list with Capullo McFarlane covers. I easily could have done that. You guys may complain, but I love to pick a couple covers at the most from the main artist associated with somebody and then find other artists to include. So that's what I've done here. I got a couple of covers of Capullo and McFarlane working together up front. I have a couple of Mattina covers. I did cheat there because he has been a big part of the most recent portion of the Spawn run. But otherwise, we went a bunch of different artists, and so we will go for there. So these are my choices for the fun covers for Spawn. Your choices may differ, but here you go. As always, our choices may differ, but here's my favorite Spawn cover. Spawn number 32. I love this great Capullo McFarlane cover with him in front of the sun, a setting sun. I just think it's super cool. Next, we have Spawn number 68. Another Capullo McFarlane. The last combination. I love this one where they're brooding on the hill with the snow. Just a great cover. Spawn 208. Kurdransky cover. I love this with his reflection in the broken glass. Just think it's really cool. We got Spawn 250, a Jock variant. I'm a big fan of Jock, and I just think this is just a great Spawn cover. Also super affordable. As is this Raphael Albuquerque cover that's going for just, a little bit more, but not much. Just a great cover, though. Next, we have Spawn 301, the Bill Sienkiewicz variant. Another super affordable, super cool cover. Next, we have this Jonathan Glapion cover to Spawn, King Spawn number 3. Love this cover. We got 2 Mattina covers. Spawn 310, my favorite Gunslinger Spawn cover. Another super affordable book and fairly recent, but my favorite of the Mattinas, outside of this King Spawn number 11, another Mattina cover. I just think that's just a super gorgeous cover. And then finally, we have a McFarlane only cover. I saved that for last. Spawn 318, my favorite McFarlane only cover. Just super cool, overlooking the city. All right, so those are the key comics, the important stories, and the fun covers for Spawn. I hope this gave you some information. Maybe there's a few books in here that you didn't know about, or some story arcs that you want to check out. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time.